Okay, Google, where do you find passion?
Here's a summary from the Telegraph. These 8 exercises could help you find your true passion in life. Ask yourself these 3 simple questions. Don't presume that your passion should be your job. Work out what you hate doing. Find the things you are mediocre at. And more.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. I think I can do better. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to find your passion, but take it a step further. I'm going to explain also how you actually get paid for doing something that you love, and to also find the thing that other people are in demand for. So let's get into it. What does passion mean, and where did it come from? It stems from the Latin translation, to suffer. It originally had a religious negative connotation to it. Over time, eventually the meaning began to warp, and it seems to have happened around the time of Shakespeare, where the definition kind of changed to more of a broad sense of desire, a good life, and just relation to love. So what's my definition of passion? Well, I define it as something that you're willing to suffer for, that has a really strong emotional response to you, that ends up generating something worth living for. There are a number of misconceptions out there about passion, and I kind of want to clear up a few of them that I think are very important to understand. Number one, you can have a number of different passions. You're not just limited to having only one. Number two, passions don't magically just appear out of thin air. You have to go find it. If you're sitting at home doing nothing and you're complaining about not having a passion, well, that's on you. Number three, you don't have to have a passion to be happy. There's a lot of people out there who don't have this extreme interest in something, and they're happy. This also brings to the point that a lot of the things chemically happening in your head related to passion is heavily associated with addiction and obsession. If you're not one of those people who do have an obsessive, addictive personality, then maybe having a passion isn't for you. How does passion actually work? It stems from fields of interest. What is a field of interest? Well, it's something that you enjoy doing. You don't need to be paid for it. You don't need to be good at it. It's just a thing that stimulates your curiosity, that makes you interested. And it's very unique to each individual. So another way that you can imagine how passion actually works is through an analogy of a flower. So the seeds that you plant will be the fields of interest that you have. And the soil that it's planted in is you. And when you put time and effort, which is the sunlight and the water, you eventually get it to flourish over time. And that flower is what we call passion. So how do you find a passion? Well, in my opinion, it depends on what you're seeking. Is it because you're looking for a passion as a hobby, or is it because you're looking for a passion as a career path? They both have the same 4 processes, but when you're doing the passion as a career path, there are additional factors that you need to consider. So the first phase is the exploration phase, and this is where you want to find a number of fields of interest that are unique to you. If you're struggling to find a field of interest to you, you may want to reflect back on your past to see if there's anything that you used to like when you were younger. Maybe it was something that you grew out of, or people told you it was a waste of time, not worth doing. It's important to understand in this exploration phase that you don't need to be good. The skill acquisition comes later. You just need to figure out whether you enjoy it or not, and it stimulates your curiosity. One of the most common mistakes that people make is that they distract themselves and they don't make time to actually explore, which means they never end up finding things that they like. It's human nature not to want to step outside your comfort zone and do things that you're not good at. And it's really easy to gravitate towards that TV or your phone to look at social media. This exploration phase really has no specific end. Some people may find their fields of interest really quickly, and some people may struggle with this for months. So the second step is the reflection phase. And this is where you want to take those fields of interest that you've discovered and really figure out which one of those has staying power. What would you be willing to suffer for? And you can ask yourself a few questions. Something that you can repeat over and over without getting tired. Is there an interest that you have that you lose track of time doing? And does the work feel like play? Do you constantly have that interest in the back of your mind trying to figure out ways to improve? And when you're not doing that interest, does it feel like you're wasting time? You know, Jeff, that sounds awfully like obsession. Why, yes. Yes, it does. What's the difference between passion and obsession? Well, it has to do with perspective and control. Perspective and control? So a passion is perceived as positive and a obsession is perceived as negative. A passion is something that you barely have control over, and an obsession is something that you have absolutely no control over. I think I get it. So anyways, in this reflection phase, this is where things as a hobbyist and a career path differ. The hobbyist doesn't care if this passion makes money from it or if people want it. It's just something that gives them fulfillment. Even though they may share or be involved in community with their hobby, it's really them behind the reasoning of why they're doing it. The person who does want to make their passion a career has to make it appeal to an audience. They need to be able to get paid for what they do, and there has to be a need for it. For example, if you're good at sewing fanny packs, if nobody wants a fanny pack in this current age, then you're not going to be able to make a passion career out of it. For the person going down the passion as a career path, I would suggest to you to kind of incorporate this concept called ikigai, where you want to take 4 different criteria and try and incorporate all of those into a single passion that you choose. The 4 criteria are what you love doing, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Write out what fits for you in each of these categories and try to connect the dots together as much as possible. The third phase is the decision. And this is where you have to really think about what you reflected on before and decide on which one you're going to pursue. And you want to close the door on all the other fields of interest that you opened up unless it has some sort of synergistic relationship that can help you develop your skills. Now, this doesn't mean that you'll never be able to go back to those fields of interest, but for now you want to avoid them because they will now become distractions to you. And the higher level of skill that you develop, the more demand that people will want your services or your products. So the fourth and last phase is what I call the skill acquisition phase. This is where you want to strive for mastery in your craft, and this is where you want to be so capable that it's really hard for other people to replicate what you do. Specifically for the passion career path, once you develop enough competency in your skill set and the confidence, you'll be able to start getting paid for what you do. If you're on that journey to find your passion, hopefully this video helped you take a step forward in that direction. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. Let me know if I did better than that Google Assistant. Anyways, I'll see you.